Welcome everyone to the VLOGAN, a vlog for individuals with special needs and those who love them. Today I'm lucky enough to be joined by Patti Shrom, the Parent Resource Coordinator and Trainer of SALT, which stands for School to Adult Life Transition Series. They serve Southwest Ohio, Butler, Greene, Montgomery, and Warren counties. Welcome, Patti. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Hey, so you and I have the same mission, which is to help people plan for bright futures for individuals with special needs. Can you talk about SALT and how SALT tries to accomplish that?
Sure. So SALT School to Adult Life Transition Series, or SALT Talks, which is the virtual version. We try to help families. We're working with the families a lot of times with parents, guardians, caregivers of individuals with special needs or disabilities, just helping them get through the transition stage. Transition can be from that school to the adulthood is just such a big hurdle and lots of information to learn. As you know, their son or daughter suddenly becomes an adult and they have a lot of things to think about, in the future.
Yeah.
For one, and then the immediate transition, there's just so much. So we try to organize all of our talks, all of our sessions around that transition to that adulthood or out of high school. What are you going to face? What do you need to know? What you have to do?
Okay. So SALT series were in-person informational sessions, and SALT Talks is what happened as a result of the pandemic. You turn it into virtual seminars, but they're still the same content. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Awesome. So SALT Talks is what people could access now. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yes.
Can you tell the viewers a little bit about what a SALT Talks series looks like?
Sure. So we usually focus on transition related topics. So for instance, when your child turns 18 and needs to look at Social Security, what we'll do is we'll bring in a speaker, and we have usually from Social Security Administration or someone who is highly knowledgeable on Social Security, deals with them all the time with that transition. So we'll bring in a speaker to speak to the parents on how do you navigate that Social Security process? What do I need to know? What kind of follow-up is there? The paperwork involved. My son or daughter got denied when we first tried it. What do we do now? So we kind of focus on one topic, and then we try to turn it upside down, inside out, so a parent knows what they will be facing or what they can plan for as they prepare for that part of transition. And then what's great is too, we always have that contact information for parents, like who the speaker was. We have their email, contact information, or a way a parent can go back, and we record everything, so they can either watch the video or they can go back and speak to that presenter for more details. Okay, I'm stuck here, what do I do, kind of thing.
Awesome. Is there a set number of talks in a series? And then what are some of the other topics that parents could expect to hear during a talk, SALT Talks?
So right now, we have various SALT Talks. So we have 3 main SALT Talks. We also hold a lunch and learn, which is midday. And then we try to set aside one time, like a half an hour during the month. These are every month. We set aside a half hour for individuals like students or individuals with disabilities and talk about, something for them. So it doesn't go as long. A SALT Talks is usually an hour and a half. So a student session will only be a half hour. But we hold them several times a month throughout the school year. So we'll start in September and go to May. We do skip the holidays because it's so busy. When we're looking at scheduling topics, so we focus on the transitional topics. So what will you be facing? So Social Security is one of many. We have stable account, we have guardianship, we have special needs trust. They're usually the main basis. We always do them every year. We talk about the County Board of Developmental Disability Services as well. Like what services are out there? What supports are out there? Coming up in April, we're going to be talking about your support groups. We'll be talking about DODD, which stands for Ohio Department of Developmental Disabilities. What kind of supports do they give to parents? And then we're going to be looking at some Down syndrome associations, autism associations, and different ones. And they're going to be speaking, specifically on what they do for parents. And not all of them are just for that disability. They're a wide range of supports there. So we just focus on what the supports are, what services are available. And we do that throughout the year. Every year, our schedule kind of changes. Sometimes we start off, we call them the heavy hitters. That's guardianship, special needs trust, stable account, Social Security. Other times we name mid-year. It just depends.
Okay. And so is it
Mhm.
groups who hire or coordinate with SALT Talks and you to prepare a series? Or is it a county board? Is it a school? How do people access SALT Talks?
Well, we have a website and we have like some other online ways you can access SALT Talks. So the county boards, as you mentioned, Montgomery, Greene, and Warren, Butler County is also, they work with me to organize, especially with virtual, we're kind of like overlapping, but we try to focus on who's available, like what topics are concerning, that we have our meetings every year before we start setting up a schedule. What topics have they heard are concerning? Like things come out new during the year. So like now there is, with Medicaid and Medicare, there's some changes there or something like that. So we look at what changes have occurred, what is out there that may need addressed, and then we organize from there. With Montgomery, Greene, Warren, they started out with, it was called a local leaders group. They organized, and then from there they stemmed a SALT series. And then Butler County, they're separate, but they also had stemmed a SALT series on their own as well. But then with being virtual, it's opened it up to so many other families. It's not, when we were in person, we were meeting in each county. Now with the virtual, we still hold the same amount of meetings, actually more meetings, but we're with virtual, people can attend from surrounding areas as well.
Got it. So it sounds to me like the county boards identify information that people, the community needs, and then they reach out to you at SALT Talks and basically hire you and SALT Talks to present that information to families. Is that sort of the way it works?
So they identified, I started with Montgomery, Greene, and Warren back in 2015, and they identified a need. There was a missing component for parents, a lot of them, and I was one of those parents. So when you're going to that, you're looking at graduation is suddenly right there and your child's going out of school. There's just a massive questions, lots of hurdles and things you didn't even know. And so the counties, each of those counties identified that this was an issue. So that was what kind of stemmed up the whole SALT series. Let's get some education out there that the parents can tap into at their convenience. It's free. And then just be able to work from there into creating their own plan going through this transition. What do they need to know? And so it was identified, and then they developed a program, and then I meet once a year with them to say, okay, here's our main, the main target topics, and then let's figure out the rest of them. What is another topic out there that's concerning right now? We do a survey at the end of every year. So we're in a survey situation right now, and I reach out to the parents, tell me what is concerning to you. So that if we get enough on a specific topic, then we'll add that in. We organize everything. I'll be organizing next year all summer long. It takes about a summer to line up all the speakers and events.
And that's how we met, right?
Yes.
You to be a speaker as part of a series. So you mentioned that the county boards do this. If a school district wanted to do something for their parents, would SALT Talks be something where they could reach out to you and coordinate something for their parents?
Yeah, so actually we had Cincinnati Public Schools, they started a tool talk. They reached out to me and say, hey, we want to start something for our parents. So we met a couple times and I told them what I do and just a general basis, kind of helped them get started, and then they took it from there. So I've helped schools and other counties start a series as their own, like a type of series. Some of them keep it the same name, some of them change the name, but to make it for their own. But I try to help anywhere I can to help them get one started or, set up a program.
Got it. And then, of course, with it being virtual, you can just have them tap into something that's already been planned.
Right. So you have several organizations that are statewide or even federal, like Social Security. That's not just county based. That's a larger stable account. Even though we have stable in the state of Ohio, you have able account, which is a national. So you can get a lot of baseline information for many of our topics that can be statewide, not just county centraled. But then within our presentations, so if we have a specific county talking, let's say Warren County, I always ask the presenters to be aware of that we'll have families from outside that area. So if something they're speaking on, they can actually give contact information or find out the information for that family's area. So if it's a county board of DD services, quite often I pull in DODD, the Ohio level of DD, of developmental disabilities.
Tell the viewers a little bit about you and how you got involved in this, if you don't mind.
So as I mentioned, I was a parent myself of a child with a disability. He was looking at graduation in 2010. And we had our IEP and all that had been going on with school. And we were 3 months from graduation. We didn't know what to do. We didn't know what we were going to do because it was like he was looking at college, but we knew he'd need supports. We were just totally lost. Just as a general idea, I just happened to go to a college and career at a local high school in Butler County. And there they had the Butler County Board of Developmental Disabilities had a table set up and they were talking about their services. And then they just had a thing about this transition program, school to adult life transition program. So we started tapping into that and found it so useful, so helpful. So within 3 months, and I mean, I had no idea because I didn't even know about Special Olympics. So that's how far out we didn't even know about services, right. Social Security, nothing. We started that part of going through eligibility processes as soon as we learned about all this in March. He was supposed to graduate in June. We were able to defer his diploma. He got into Project Life and Search, which started him a great career path into employment. We would have never known that before. So I knew the hurdles I was facing. And I knew that whole year after we found out about all these services and started going through all the eligibility processes, that year we were in and out of so many offices. I had a migraine like for the whole year. It was a nightmare. Right. And I thought nobody should have to go through this. And it's like, isn't there some sort of plan that we can just follow that, a flow chart or something, that was my initial involvement in trying with being a parent myself and getting educated. So then down the road, 2015, Montgomery Green and Warren identified this as being a really big problem. A local leaders group involving those counties decided to create a SALT program, and they called, well, I found out through word of mouth that they were seeing if I was interested. So I started to help them, and they actually hired me to work through some funding that they had. I think it was a grant. They were able to start a SALT series then. And that's how then I kind of got involved, but it was on my own personal experience. And I said, I never want a parent to go through that, just feel like they're so lost.
I'm sorry that you had to go through it. I'm glad you did, because you're helping so many people out there to navigate this transition to adulthood. And then where can people find out about Assault Talks or Assault Series, or get in touch with you to plan something for their group or their district or their community?
So we have a few options. You can email me directly, which is prtpatties@gmail.com. Or if you we have a website now. I tried to create this website so it'd be easy for people to see about SALT, what does it involve, and then a contact information there. And that's SALT-resources. There's a contact form in there. There's also, when you look through there, I try to create a drop-down menu. We have a newsletter we put out once a month. It has everything in it that's going to happen that month, my contact information, the county boards that are involved, their contact information. but it's about upcoming events. And on that website, you can sign up for that newsletter, or you can email me to get put on the newsletter. And then we also have a Facebook, and that lists all the activities that I find, and my information's on there as well.
Awesome. What is the Southwest Ohio Live Binder? What is that? That's under your helpful resources.
Mm-hmm. So the Live Binder, it's a binder. Like years ago, I used to carry a binder around, and I'd have all my tabs, Social Security, guardianship, and carry all the papers that I collected in this binder. And believe me, it was heavy. So then when I found out about an online Live Binder, I thought, how simple is this? So I created an online Live Binder, same thing. It has tabs, divided everything up into different categories, and I add presentations in there, video recordings, website links, anything I can find around that topic, I will put in there. It's a resource binder that's online, and you can download from there for your own reference.
Just having looked at it, it looks like a tremendous amount of work, and you can tell that this is about loving individuals and trying to help the community for you, because it's an amazing resource out there for people. So I want to thank you, Patti, for all that you're doing, but also for coming on my vlog today and telling us about salt.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of VLOGAN. Please like, share, and subscribe to the RRPG channel so you can stay up to date with some of the latest news in the disability community.